If the U.S. wants North Korea to take concrete steps towards removing its nuclear weapons, it must begin discussing the possibility of lifting sanctions on the hermit state, a former top U.S. diplomat for North Korea said on Friday. Joseph Yun, former U.S. Special Representative for North Korea policy at the State Department, said he supported the idea of Washington adjusting its message to say, "We're willing to discuss certain sanction exemptions," instead of continuing to insist on providing no sanctions relief to the North without final and fully verified denuclearization. It opens up a whole avenue of discussion to move stalled negotiations forward, the former U.S. envoy told an event at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace in Washington. Yun made the comment while answering a question from James Schaff, a senior fellow in the Carnegie Asia program. Schaff had asked if Yun agreed that the U.S. needed to consider discussing sanctions relief to get progress from North Korea on denuclearization. Yun's comments came hours after North Korea claimed it successfully tested an undisclosed, high-tech tactical weapon and that had decided to deport a U.S. citizen who has been detained since October for illegally entering the country. "It is always a good sign that they want to release American detainees," Yun said. "They are trying to send that signal," U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said in a statement on Friday that the U.S. appreciates the cooperation of North Korea and Sweden in bringing about the release of an American citizen. But North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's supervision of the reported high-tech weapons testing is saying to the U.S. that we can go either way, Yun cautioned. The testing of the high-tech tactical weapon has been carried out successfully, meeting all superior and powerful designing indicators, Yonhap news agency reported, citing an announcement from North Korea's state-run Korean Central Broadcasting Station. "We watch North Korea closely," Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Logan, a spokesman at the Pentagon, said in an email, while declining to further comment on the details of the reported test of the unspecified tactical weapon. Despite the testing, the State Department said in a statement that the U.S. remains confident that the promises made by President Trump and Chairman Kim will be fulfilled. North Korea to free U.S. citizen detained since October. At the Singapore summit, President Trump and Chairman Kim made a number of commitments regarding final, fully verified denuclearization and creating a brighter future for North Korea, the statement said. "We are talking with the North Koreans about implementing all of those commitments," it continued. The president has made clear that if Kim Jong-un denuclearizes, there is a bright future for North Korea. Trump and Kim met in Singapore in June and signed a vaguely worded document on removing nuclear weapons from the Korean peninsula. Trump subsequently said he expected a second meeting with Kim to occur early next year. However, the bilateral nuclear talks have stalled as Pyongyang has blamed Washington for demanding the North's unilateral nuclear disarmament amid a lack of corresponding offers such as sanction relief. Furthermore, a meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and his North Korean counterpart Kim Yong-chol that had been scheduled for last week in New York has been postponed. U.S. confident in Kim's word despite North Korea's new weapons testing, it is not surprising that North Korea is continuing to develop and test its military capabilities, said Kelsey Davenport, Director for Non-Proliferation Policy at the Arms Control Association, a Washington-based think tank. Pyongyang only committed to halt long-range ballistic missile launches. With talks stalled and the Trump administration continuing to emphasize that no sanctions relief will be granted until denuclearization is completed, the United States should expect signaling from Pyongyang that North Korea can also ratchet up pressure on negotiations. But the reports from North Korea's state media about Pyongyang's decision to deport a U.S. detainee could be viewed as a positive gesture for future diplomatic engagement. The U.S. citizen, identified as Bruce Byron Lawrence, has been detained in North Korea since he was caught illegally entering North Korea via the border with China last month, the Korean Central News Agency, KCNA, said. Trump expects another meeting with Kim sometime early next year. He confessed to have entered the country under the direction of the U.S.'s Central Intelligence Agency, the KCNA said. It did not specify when the U.S. citizen would be deported. A spokesman at the State Department said in an email that, "We are aware of reports of the release of a U.S. citizen who had been detained by the DPRK, while declining to share details of the detainee, due to privacy considerations. The welfare and safety of U.S. citizens abroad is one of the highest priorities of the Department of State," the spokesman said. When a U.S. citizen is detained abroad, consular officers seek to aid him or her with all appropriate consular assistance. U.S. panel demands list of Chinese financial firms facing possible sanctions. North Korea has released 4 detained Americans since Trump took office in early 2017. Otto Warmbier, one of the 4 detainees and an American college student, died after he was returned to the U.S. in a coma in June last year. Trump welcomed home the other 3 detainees, all American citizens of Korean descent, at Joint Base Andrews, a military airbase in Maryland in early May.